What if I told you that riches, real, lasting riches, begin with nothing more than a single thought? Not with money, not with luck, not even with hard work, just one powerful thought. Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years studying the world's most successful people, from Andrew Carnegie to Thomas Edison, and discovered something shocking. They all shared the same hidden formula. A formula that can turn any ordinary person into an extraordinary success story. So the question is, if they could do it, why not you? Think and Grow Rich is not a book about money. It is a book about the mind. It teaches that wealth begins as an idea, a burning desire that transforms thought into reality. The moment you learn to control your mind, you begin to control your destiny. Because everything you see, every empire, every invention, every fortune started in someone's imagination. Napoleon Hill calls it the secret, a secret that has created millionaires for more than a century. And once you understand it, your life will never be the same. Before we begin uncovering this secret chapter by chapter, take one small step, subscribe now, and join this journey of transformation. Chapter 1. The Power of Thought. The man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas Edison. Can a single idea make you rich? Napoleon Hill begins his book with a story that sounds impossible. A man who literally thought his way into becoming Thomas Edison's business partner. Most people dream of opportunities. Few ever act on them. But this man, Edwin C. Barnes, had one unstoppable belief. He would work with Edison, not for him, with him. Barnes had no money, no connections, and no special education. He simply had a clear goal, and he burned every bridge behind him. He did not say, "I will try." He said, "I will." That single decision set his mind on fire. He took a train to Edison's office and offered to work for whatever pay he could get, just to get his foot in the door. Years later, when Edison invented the dictating machine, Barnes saw his chance. While others ignored it, Barnes sold it with passion and made himself a fortune, his secret. He turned desire into belief and belief into action. That is where wealth begins. So, if thoughts can become things, what stops most people from turning their thoughts into success? Chapter 2 reveals the hidden force that separates dreamers from achievers. Chapter 2. Desire, the starting point of all achievement. Every success story begins with one emotion: desire. Not a wish, not a hope, but a burning, almost obsessive desire that refuses to die. Napoleon Hill says that the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not talent, education, or even luck. It is intensity. Successful people want it so badly that they are willing to give up sleep, comfort, and fear until that desire becomes a reality. In this chapter, Hill tells the story of Edwin Barnes, who transformed his desire to work with Thomas Edison into an empire. But here he breaks down how you can do the same. Hill gives 6 practical steps to turn desire into wealth. First, decide exactly how much money you want. Second, fix a date when you will achieve it. Third, decide what you will give in return. Fourth, create a clear plan and begin immediately. Fifth, write a statement of your goal. And finally, read it aloud twice a day, morning and night, until you believe it. These are not just steps, they are mental programming. Every time you repeat your desire with emotion, your mind begins to see it as truth. But what happens when your belief wavers, when your inner voice says, "You cannot do it"? The next chapter unlocks the invisible force that silences that doubt forever. Chapter 3. Faith, visualization of and belief in the attainment of desire. Faith is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Napoleon Hill says faith is the head chemist of the mind, the emotion that transforms ordinary thoughts into powerful energy. Have you ever noticed how confident people attract opportunities while doubters push them away? That is faith at work. Hill explains that your subconscious mind accepts any thought that you repeat with emotion, whether it is true or not. So, when you keep telling yourself, "I am capable, I am wealthy, or I will achieve this," your subconscious begins to believe it. And once your mind believes, it starts to create the conditions that make it real. Faith is the bridge between desire and reality. Without it, desire fades. With it, impossible goals begin to feel inevitable. So the secret is repetition. Repeated affirmations of faith create a mental state so strong that failure becomes unthinkable. But how do you plant these thoughts so deep into your subconscious that doubt never stands a chance? The answer lies in the next principle, one that connects thought, faith, and action like a hidden signal between the conscious and subconscious mind. Chapter 4. Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. Have you ever caught yourself daydreaming and suddenly realized your mood changed? That is the power of suggestion, and according to Napoleon Hill, if you can control that inner conversation, you can control your destiny. Autosuggestion means deliberately feeding your mind with the ideas you want to believe, not the fears you want to avoid. It is self-hypnosis through repetition, emotion, and imagination. Hill teaches that your subconscious does not respond to logic, it responds to emotion. When you repeat your goals aloud, visualize them, and feel them as already achieved, your subconscious accepts them as fact and starts attracting matching opportunities, people, and ideas into your life. But here is the trap most people practice: negative autosuggestion without realizing it. They say things like, "I am not good enough," or "this will never work," and guess what? Their subconscious agrees. Autosuggestion is always working. The only question is, are you programming success or failure? So far, you have learned to desire, to believe, and to speak to your subconscious, but knowledge alone is not enough. To truly grow rich, you must learn what kind of knowledge creates power and how to use it strategically. Chapter 5 reveals how the world's wealthiest people turn ordinary experience into extraordinary success. Chapter 5. Specialized knowledge. Personal experience or observation knowledge by itself is not power. It only becomes power when it is organized, directed, and used with purpose. Think about it. How many people do you know who are brilliant, educated, maybe even experts in their field, but still struggle financially? Napoleon Hill says that is because they have general knowledge, not specialized knowledge. Specialized knowledge is focused knowledge, the kind that solves problems, creates value, and brings results. Hill gives a powerful example. Henry Ford. Ford had little formal education. He did not know how to build an engine himself, but he surrounded himself with people who did. He used their specialized knowledge to turn a vision into one of the world's largest industries. Hill reminds us that success does not come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing the right thing and using it with determination. You can acquire specialized knowledge through study, experience, or by forming a team of people who complement your strengths. Your goal is to turn information into action, ideas into income, because knowledge sitting in your head is useless until it moves your hands and feet. But knowledge alone is not enough. You also need something that can turn your ideas into reality, the creative power that separates leaders from followers, and that power begins in your imagination. Chapter 6. Imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything you see around you, your phone, your home, your job, was once invisible. It existed only in someone's imagination. Napoleon Hill calls imagination the workshop of the mind, where all plans are created and shaped before they become real. The question is, how well are you using yours? There are two types of imagination: synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination rearranges old ideas into new combinations, like inventors improving existing machines. Creative imagination goes beyond logic. It taps into your intuition, inspiration, and connection with infinite intelligence. Hill says this creative imagination is your bridge to the universe, the source of new ideas that can change your destiny. But it only awakens when your desire is strong and your faith is unshakable. To use imagination effectively, You must first see your goal clearly in vivid, emotional detail until it feels more real than your current reality. Your subconscious mind then begins to attract the means and methods to bring it to life, but imagination without structure is just fantasy. The next step is to give your dreams a plan, a roadmap that transforms imagination into achievement. Chapter 7. Organized planning, the crystallization of desire into action. You can have all the desire and imagination in the world, but without a plan, success remains a dream. Napoleon Hill calls this chapter the turning point, where thought takes physical form through organized action. Hill teaches that every successful person turns their desire into a definite plan and then executes that plan with persistence. A plan does not need to be perfect. It only needs to exist. He also reveals a key insight. No one succeeds alone. Hill introduces the concept of the mastermind group, a team of people who share a common goal and combine their energy, experience, and knowledge to reach it faster. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and many other titans used the mastermind principle to multiply their power. Their combined intelligence created results no individual could achieve. When one plan fails, create another. Failure only proves that the current plan is weak, not that your dream is impossible. Keep refining your plan, and success becomes a mathematical certainty. But even the best plan is useless if you cannot make decisions. Most people hesitate until opportunity slips away. In the next chapter, you will learn the one trait that turns ordinary thinkers into unstoppable achievers. Chapter 8. Decision, the mastery of procrastination. Have you ever lost an opportunity because you hesitated for too long? Napoleon Hill discovered that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, while unsuccessful people do the opposite. Indecision is the silent killer of dreams. It drains your confidence, weakens your faith, and feeds your fears. Hill's research on millionaires revealed that every one of them possessed the habit of decisiveness. Henry Ford once made a design decision that many of his engineers disagreed with, but he held firm. That decision, though unpopular, helped him build one of the most powerful car companies in history. Hill explains that decision is not only about action, it is about courage. The courage to think for yourself, to ignore criticism, and to follow your vision when others doubt you. He warns, opinions are the cheapest commodity on earth. If you listen to everyone, you will end up following no one, especially not yourself. Your destiny is shaped in the moments you decide. Every yes or no builds the foundation of your future. So what keeps most people from making firm decisions? It is not lack of knowledge or opportunity, it is lack of persistence. In the next chapter, you will discover how the world rewards those who refuse to quit, no matter how many times they fall. Chapter 9. Persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. Have you ever been so close to your goal and then quit just before the breakthrough? Napoleon Hill calls persistence the iron quality of success, the difference between those who almost make it and those who actually do. Most people give up when things get difficult. The winners are those who stay when the world says stop. Persistence is not talent, it is a decision. Hill shares stories of famous achievers who kept going long after logic told them to quit. Thomas Edison failed more than 10,000 times before creating the light bulb. Each failure only strengthened his determination. Hill explains that persistence can be built by having a definite goal, a burning desire, and the ability to make decisions quickly. It also grows stronger when you surround yourself with encouraging people and protect your mind from negativity. When you feel the urge to quit, remember this: temporary defeat is not failure. It is simply feedback. Every setback brings you one step closer to success if you keep moving forward. But persistence alone is not enough. You must connect with people whose minds and energy multiply your own. The next chapter reveals the mysterious power that makes two or more minds together unstoppable. Chapter 10. The power of the mastermind, the driving force. When two minds come together in harmony, something invisible is created, a third mind. Napoleon Hill calls it the mastermind. It is the secret that turns individual ideas into unstoppable forces. Hill discovered that every great fortune was built by people who surrounded themselves with other driven, like-minded individuals. A mastermind is not just a group, it is a connection of energies, ideas, and purpose. When you blend your mind with others who share your vision, you create a new level of intelligence. Thoughts transfer faster, creativity grows, and belief becomes contagious. Henry Ford had Edison, Carnegie had a team of experts. Even Hill himself built a network of people who lifted each other mentally and emotionally. The mastermind principle also teaches humility, knowing that success is never a solo act. It is a symphony. And the more tuned the players, the greater the music. But there is one more force, raw, powerful, and often misunderstood, that Hill says can multiply your creative energy tenfold. In the next chapter, you will discover how one of humanity's most primal drives can be transformed into genius. Chapter 11. The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. This chapter shocked readers for generations. Napoleon Hill claimed that one of the most powerful forces for success is the same energy that drives human passion, sexual energy. But instead of suppressing it, he taught how to redirect it. Hill explains that sexual energy is the strongest emotion a human can feel. When controlled and transformed or transmuted, it becomes creativity, motivation, and influence. Many of history's greatest minds, from artists to inventors, used this principle without even realizing it. They channeled their emotions into work, art, and innovation rather than physical expression. Sex transmutation is not about denial. It is about direction. When this energy is focused on your goals, it gives your thoughts intensity, your actions persistence, and your personality magnetism. Hill says that the truly successful person learns to master emotions instead of being mastered by them. They use passion to create, not to consume. But how does this energy reach the deeper levels of your mind where real transformation happens? The next chapter unlocks the connecting link, the place where thoughts become reality. Chapter 12. The Subconscious Mind, the Connecting Link. Imagine a bridge between your conscious thoughts and the infinite intelligence of the universe. That bridge is your subconscious mind. Napoleon Hill calls it the link that connects your desires, emotions, and faith with the physical world. Your subconscious mind never sleeps. It listens to every word you speak, every image you visualize, every emotion you feel. It acts like a magnet, attracting people and circumstances that match your dominant thoughts. Hill explains that this part of your mind cannot reject ideas, it only obeys them. So if you fill it with fear, you attract more fear. If you fill it with abundance, courage, and faith, you begin to draw opportunities that match those feelings. The key is daily repetition of positive thoughts mixed with emotion. Autosuggestion, faith, and desire all feed into the subconscious to form your dominant vibration. Treat it like fertile soil, plant good seeds every day, and eventually your harvest will come. But where exactly does the subconscious send these thoughts? What invisible network receives and returns them to you in the form of ideas and inspiration? Chapter 13 reveals the answer: your own brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Chapter 13. The brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. Imagine for a moment that your mind is not just a storage room for thoughts, but a live radio station. Every idea you send out travels as a vibration into the world, invisible, yet powerful enough to attract matching thoughts, people, and events. Napoleon Hill believed that our brains are like broadcasting towers, constantly sending and receiving frequencies of success or failure, depending on how we think. Think of it this way: when you constantly think about fear, failure, and doubt, you tune your brain to a frequency of loss. You start attracting more reasons to give up. But when you think with faith, vision and certainty, you align with the frequencies of wealth, opportunity, and success. Hill takes this even deeper. He says your brain's greatest power is its ability to connect with other minds. This is why masterminds, partnerships, and creative collaborations often lead to success faster than solitary effort. Every great fortune, every invention, every revolution began when multiple minds shared one burning purpose. So the question is, what station are you tuned to right now? Fear or faith, doubt or determination? Because if your thoughts are broadcasting failure, success cannot receive your signal. And here is the twist: the power to change that frequency lies in one simple act. Consciously deciding what you focus on every single day. Stay with me, because in the next chapter we will step into one of the most mysterious forces in human history, a power so deep that it has shaped empires, religions, and destinies. Chapter 14, The Sixth Sense, the Door to the Temple of Wisdom. Have you ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be right? That strange inner whisper that told you what to do before logic could even explain it. Napoleon Hill calls that the sixth sense the door to the temple of wisdom. He describes it as an invisible bridge between the finite mind of man and the infinite intelligence of the universe. It is the moment when all your study, struggle, and discipline align and ideas simply flow. You do not force them. They come as inspiration, like a sudden spark of genius. Hill insists this sixth sense cannot be fully controlled, it must be developed. It appears only when your mind is disciplined, your emotions are under control, and your purpose is clear. When that happens, intuition begins to speak loudly. It guides you toward the right people, the right moments, and the right choices. The truly wealthy and wise, from inventors to leaders, all rely on this inner sense. It is what gives them confidence when logic says no, and courage when fear says stop. So here's your challenge. Begin to trust your inner voice. Quiet your mind, listen deeply, and let that intuition lead, because the sixth sense is not about predicting the future. It is about creating it. But what happens when even the strongest, most disciplined minds face the unexpected, when failure or loss strikes without warning? That is where the final secret lies. And it is what we uncover next. Chapter 15, How to Outwit the Six Ghosts of Fear. The greatest enemy of wealth is not poverty. It is fear. Fear of poverty. Fear of criticism. Fear of ill health. Fear of loss. Fear of old age, fear of death. Napoleon Hill calls them the six ghosts of fear, and they haunt every human mind that has not taken control of itself. He warns that these fears quietly paralyze your decision-making, limit your vision, and trap you in endless hesitation. The more you give them attention, the stronger they become. But the truth is, these ghosts are illusions. They live only in your thoughts. Hill gives one powerful antidote: awareness. The moment you recognize fear for what it is, a self-created thought, it begins to lose power over you. Combine that with faith, discipline, and purpose, and fear becomes fuel instead of chains. He ends with this unforgettable challenge. Take inventory of yourself. What are you afraid of right now? What ghost is silently controlling your destiny? Because when you finally face fear head-on, when you replace it with unwavering faith, the world bends to your will. And that is when you stop surviving and start growing rich in wealth, in wisdom, and in life. Final thoughts. So now, after all these chapters, here is the truth that Napoleon Hill wanted you to see. Success is not an accident. It is a formula. It begins with a burning desire, grows through faith and persistence, and matures when you learn to control your mind, your greatest asset. Every person who ever achieved greatness used these principles. Think and Grow Rich is not about money, it is about mastering yourself. Because once you master your mind, everything else follows. Now, here is my question to you. What if the only thing standing between you and your richest life is a single thought? If If this message sparked something inside you, then do not let it fade. Hit that subscribe button, join our journey through the world's greatest books, and keep feeding your mind with ideas that make you unstoppable, because this is where the transformation begins.